I walked into the family dinner with my daughter. My mother snapped. Why would you bring that here? My daughter whispered, Mommy, am I embarrassing? I didn't argue, I left. 2 hours later, she realized she'd crossed a line. But before I begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know. Now let's dive into today's story. Dana Whitlock gripped the steering wheel tighter than necessary as she turned onto Birch Street. The afternoon sun caught the windshield at an angle that made her squint, and she reached up to adjust the visor with one hand. In the rearview mirror, she could see Maya buckled into her booster seat, her small fingers tracing patterns on the fogged window. How much longer, Mommy? The words came slowly, with careful spaces between them, as if Maya was testing each syllable before releasing it into the air. Just a few more minutes, sweet pea. Dana didn't want to be making this drive. She'd been perfectly content staying in Clearwater, a small Minnesota town where the biggest excitement was the Friday night football games and the annual county fair. Her apartment was tiny but hers. Her job at the medical clinic paid the bills. Maya's school was 3 blocks away. They had a routine, a rhythm, a life that worked. But then her mother had called. Not with an invitation. Gloria Whitlock didn't invite. She summoned. You'll come for dinner on Saturday, she'd said, her voice carrying that familiar edge that suggested disagreement wasn't really an option. Families should eat together once in a while. It's not healthy. You living out there like you don't have people. Dana had almost said no. Her finger had hovered over the end call button. But then Gloria had added, I haven't seen my granddaughter in months. And Dana had felt that old, familiar guilt wrap around her chest like a too-tight sweater. So here she was, driving 40 minutes to her childhood home, to a dinner that wasn't for a birthday or a holiday or anything resembling a celebration. Just her mother's need to exert control, disguised as family obligation. The houses on Birch Street looked exactly as they always had, neat lawns, American flags on porches, basketball hoops in driveways. Dana's mother lived in the 3rd house from the corner, a white 2-story with black shutters and a mailbox shaped like a barn. The paint was fresh. The garden had been mulched recently. Everything about Gloria's house projected an image of order and respectability. Dana pulled into the driveway and killed the engine. For a moment, she sat there, hands still on the wheel, listening to the tick of the cooling engine. Maya had stopped humming. Dana could feel her daughter's eyes on the back of her head. Is Grandma nice? Maya asked. The question landed like a stone in Dana's stomach. Maya was 8. She'd met Gloria maybe 6 or 7 times in her life. Always brief visits, always tense. Maya didn't remember most of them. Dana had been careful about that, spacing out the visits, keeping them short, always ready with an excuse to leave early. Grandma is... Dana paused, searching for the right word. Not a lie, but not the whole truth either. Grandma has strong opinions. But we're not staying long, okay? Just dinner. Maya nodded slowly, unbuckling herself. They walked up the stone path together, Maya's small hand tucked into Dana's. The front door opened before they reached it. Gloria stood in the doorway, backlit by the bright interior lights. She was 63, but looked younger. Good genes, religious use of sunscreen, and a standing hair appointment every Thursday. She wore dark jeans and a cream-colored sweater, pearl earrings catching the light. Everything about her appearance was calculated, controlled. There you are, Gloria said, stepping aside to let them in. I was starting to think you'd changed your mind. Traffic was fine, Dana replied, sidestepping the implied criticism. She could already feel the old patterns settling over her like a familiar but uncomfortable coat. Gloria's eyes moved to Maya, and Dana felt her daughter's hand tighten. My goodness, she's gotten big. Gloria bent down slightly, not quite to Maya's level. Hello, Maya. Do you remember me? Maya looked up at Dana, then back at Gloria. When she spoke, Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Hi, Grandma." The pauses were longer than usual. Maya always struggled more when she was nervous, the words getting stuck somewhere between her brain and her mouth. Dana had learned to wait, to give her daughter space to find her rhythm. Speech therapy had helped. So had patience. Gloria straightened. "Why is she talking like that?" The question was directed at Dana, as if Maya wasn't standing right there. As if a child with ears and feelings wasn't holding Dana's hand. Dana felt heat rise in her chest, spreading up her neck. "She's fine. She just takes her time." Takes her time. Gloria moved toward the kitchen, expecting them to follow. "Is it a medical thing? Did you have her tested?" "We're working with a therapist." Dana kept her voice level controlled. She'd learned long ago that showing emotion around her mother was like bleeding in shark-infested waters. "She's doing great." The house smelled exactly as Dana remembered: lemon furniture polish, potpourri in cut glass bowls, and underneath it all, that particular scent of air freshener that Gloria sprayed in every room twice a day. The furniture was the same. The photos on the walls were the same. Even the arrangement of magazines on a coffee table looked unchanged, as if the house existed in a perfectly preserved bubble immune to time. In the kitchen, a roasted chicken sat on the counter, golden and glistening. Potatoes, green beans, a salad. Everything looked perfect, arranged like a photo from a cooking magazine. Gloria had always been good at appearances. "Wash your hands," Gloria said, pointing Maya toward the bathroom. "Both of you." Maya let go of Dana's hand and walked slowly down the hallway. Dana watched her go, every maternal instinct screaming to follow, to stay close. But she forced herself to stay in the kitchen, to help her mother carry dishes to the dining room table. "So," Gloria said, setting down a bowl of potatoes, "how long are you planning to stay out in Clearwater? You know there are better opportunities closer to the city." "I like where we are. That clinic job can't pay much." "It pays enough." "And what about Maya's father? Does he help at all?" Dana's jaw clenched. "We're not discussing Ryan. I'm just saying you made your choices." Gloria placed silverware with precise movements, each fork and knife exactly aligned. "You could have tried harder. Marriage takes work." This was classic Gloria, taking a nice dinner, or what was supposed to be a nice dinner, and turning it into an interrogation about everything Dana was supposedly doing wrong with her life. The criticism was never direct enough to call out, always dressed up as concern, as helpful advice. Dana didn't take the bait. She'd learned that lesson too. Maya returned from the bathroom, her hand still damp, and climbed into the chair Dana pulled out for her. The dining room table was oak, heavy, and old, the same table Dana had eaten at as a child. The same table where she'd been scolded for talking with her mouth full, for slouching, for laughing too loud. They sat. Gloria served the food, her movements efficient and controlled. Dana cut Maya's chicken into smaller pieces, something her daughter could handle on her own, but Dana did anyway, needing to do something with her hands. For a few minutes, they ate in silence. Gloria asked about Dana's job, and Dana gave minimal answers. The weather, traffic, safe topics that required no real engagement. Then Maya started talking. We had art today." She paused between words, her fork hovering over her plate. "I painted a bird." Gloria took a sip of water, her expression neutral. Maya continued, encouraged by the lack of immediate interruption. "It was blue and yellow, and the teacher said it was really good." The pride in Maya's voice was unmistakable. She smiled at Dana, that gap-toothed grin that made Dana's heart squeeze. "That's wonderful, baby," Dana said. "I can't wait to see it." Maya turned to Gloria, her small face hopeful. "Do you want to see it too? I can bring it next time." Gloria set down her fork. She didn't say anything immediately, just looked at Maya with an expression Dana couldn't quite read. Then she sighed a long, loud exhalation that seemed to fill the entire room. "Oh my God!" Gloria's voice was sharp, cutting. "Why would you bring that here?" The room went cold. Dana stopped breathing. "Excuse me." The words came out flat, dangerous. Gloria waved a hand dismissively. "She sounds off. Can't you hear it? All those pauses. It's painful to listen to." Maya's face crumpled. Her fork clattered against her plate. "Mommy." Dana's vision narrowed. The edges of the room seemed to darken, and all she could see was her daughter's face, the way Maya's lower lip trembled, the way her eyes filled with tears that she was desperately trying to hold back. "Stop," Dana said. "I'm just being honest. Someone needs to tell you." "Stop talking." Dana's voice was quiet now, but it carried weight. She pushed back from the table, the chair scraping against the hardwood. "We're leaving." Gloria laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. I'm trying to help. You can't baby her forever. The real world isn't going to be patient with." Dana was already moving. She grabbed Maya's coat from where it hung on the back of the chair, scooped up her purse from the counter. Her hands were shaking, but her movements were purposeful, controlled. "Dana." Gloria stood now too, her own voice rising. "You're too sensitive. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You never could take criticism." Maya was crying openly now, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. She looked at Gloria, then at Dana, her small body frozen in confusion and hurt. "Mommy, am I embarrassing?" The question shattered something in Dana's chest. She knelt down beside Maya's chair, took her daughter's face gently in both hands. "No, baby. No. You are perfect, exactly as you are." She helped Maya into her coat, her own hand still trembling with rage she was barely containing. Gloria stood by the table, arms crossed, her face set in that familiar expression of wounded indignation. "This is ridiculous," Gloria said. "I invite you into my home, make you dinner, and this is how you repay me? By storming out like a child." Dana looked at her mother then, really looked at her, and for the first time in her life, she saw Gloria clearly, not as the authority figure she'd spent 32 years trying to please, but as a woman so small inside that she needed to make an 8-year-old feel terrible to feel big herself. "Don't call me again," Dana said. She didn't shout it, didn't throw dishes or slam doors. She just said it quietly, firmly, and then she took her daughter's hand and walked toward the front door. "You're going to regret this." Gloria called after them. "You'll come crawling back. You always do." Dana didn't respond. She opened the door, stepped out into the cool evening air, and closed it behind her with a soft click. The walk to the car felt like miles. Maya was crying harder now, those big, gulping sobs that shook her whole body. Dana buckled her into the booster seat, her own hand still shaking, then got behind the wheel. She started the engine, put the car in reverse, and only when they were 3 blocks away, when the white house with black shutters was no longer visible in the rearview mirror, did Dana let herself breathe. Dana drove for 20 minutes before pulling into a gas station parking lot. Her hands ached from gripping the wheel. Her jaw hurt from clenching it. Behind her, Maya's sobs had quieted to hiccuping breaths. Dana turned off the engine and twisted in her seat. Maya looked so small in the back, her coat still on, her face blotchy and red from crying. She was staring down at her hands, her small fingers twisting together in her lap. "Maya, baby, look at me." Slowly, Maya's eyes lifted. They were red-rimmed, devastated. I can try harder. I can talk normal." The words felt like knives. Dana unbuckled her seatbelt and climbed into the back, something she hadn't done since Maya was a toddler. She squeezed herself into the small space next to the booster seat and pulled her daughter into her arms. "Listen to me," Dana said, her voice fierce. "There is nothing wrong with how you talk. Nothing. Do you understand me?" Maya shook her head against Dana's chest. But Grandma said, Grandma was cruel. And when someone is cruel to you, when someone tries to make you feel small, you don't change yourself. You walk away, even if it's family, especially if it's family. But I made you leave your mommy's house. No, Dana pulled back so Maya could see her face. You didn't make me do anything. I chose to leave because I will always, always protect you. Always. Maya's lower lip quivered. Promise. Promise. They sat there for a long time, Dana holding her daughter in the cramped back seat of a 10-year-old Honda, watching cars come and go from the gas pumps. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Inside the gas station, fluorescent lights flickered on. Finally, Maya said, Can we go home? Yeah, baby, we can go home. Dana climbed back into the front seat, started the engine again. As they pulled back onto the highway, heading north toward Clearwater, she caught Maya's reflection in the rearview mirror. Her daughter was watching the landscape pass, her face calmer now, though still tear-stained. Dana's phone buzzed in her purse. Once, twice, 3 times. She didn't look at it. She knew who it was. When they got home, after she'd helped Maya wash her face and change into pajamas, after she'd read 2 extra bedtime stories, and sat beside Maya's bed until her daughter finally fell asleep, Dana sat in her small living room and pulled out her phone. 7 missed calls. 4 voicemails. 12 text messages. All from Gloria. Dana didn't read them. She scrolled through her contacts, found her mother's name, and pressed the block button. The phone asked if she was sure. She was. Dana didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, her mind replaying the dinner on an endless loop. Maya's hopeful face when she'd started talking about her painting. The way Gloria's mouth had twisted. The sharp edge of those words. Why would you bring that here? Bring what? A child? Her granddaughter? A little girl who was kind and creative and tried so hard every single day? Dana had made excuses for her mother for years. Gloria was from a different generation. She didn't understand kids with learning differences. She had high standards. She meant well. But lying there in the dark, Dana realized something she'd been avoiding for most of her adult life. Gloria didn't mean well. She never had. As the hours ticked past midnight, Dana found herself remembering other moments. Moments she'd filed away, minimized, explained away. When Dana had been pregnant with Maya, bloated and exhausted at 8 months, Gloria had looked her up and down and said, Well, you've really let yourself go, haven't you? When Dana had protested that she was literally growing a human, Gloria had just shrugged. I stayed in shape when I was pregnant with you. It's about discipline. When Ryan had left, walked out 2 months after Maya's diagnosis, unable to handle the reality of a child who would need extra help, Gloria's only comment had been, Well, what did you expect? Men don't stay for broken families. Broken. She'd called Maya broken. Dana had defended Maya that day, but not strongly enough. She'd said, Don't call her that, instead of get out of my house and never come back. Why had she been so afraid to push back? Why had she spent 32 years trying to earn approval from a woman who was fundamentally incapable of giving it? At 3 a.m, Dana got up and made tea. She sat at her small kitchen table, the one that wobbled slightly and that she bought at a yard sale, and she thought about patterns. People liked to believe that abuse was always obvious, shouting, violence, dramatic blow-ups. But Dana was starting to understand that it could be quieter than that. A constant drip of criticism, a never-ending message that you weren't good enough, smart enough, disciplined enough. Love offered and withdrawn based on compliance. Gloria had never hit her, but she'd spent a lifetime making Dana feel like she was failing, like everything she did was somehow insufficient or wrong. And Dana had almost let that poison reach Maya. Not almost. It had reached Maya. Her daughter had cried in the car and asked if she could talk normal. An 8-year-old, asking if something fundamental about herself was wrong. Dana finished her tea and rinsed the cup. Through the kitchen window, she could see the first hints of dawn breaking over the roofline of the apartment complex across the street. She'd done the right thing leaving. She knew that, but she also knew this wasn't over. The voicemails started the next morning. Dana was making breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast, Maya's favorite, when her phone lit up with a notification. She glanced at it, saw it was from a number she didn't recognize, and ignored it. 2 minutes later, another call. Same unknown number. She let it go to voicemail. Maya shuffled into the kitchen, still in her pajamas, her hair a tangled mess. She climbed into her chair at the small table and picked up her fork, waiting. "How'd you sleep?" Dana asked, sliding eggs onto her plate. "Okay." Maya poked at her eggs. "I had a dream about the bird. I painted." "Yeah. Was it a good dream?" "It could fly really fast." Dana smiled, kissing the top of her daughter's head. "That sounds like a very good dream." They ate together in comfortable silence, sunlight streaming through the window above the sink. This was Dana's favorite time of day. Just her and Maya, no expectations, no judgment, just peace. After Maya was dressed and had brushed her teeth, Dana packed her lunch and walked her to school. It was only 3 blocks and Maya knew the way by heart, but Dana liked the routine of it. The crossing guard, who always waved. The neighbor who walked his golden retriever at exactly 7:45 every morning. The normalcy of it all. At the school entrance, Maya hugged her tight. "Love you, Mommy. Love you more, sweet pea." Dana watched until Maya disappeared through the front doors, then walked slowly back home. Her phone buzzed again in her pocket. She pulled it out, saw another unknown number, and this time decided to listen to the voicemail. "Dana." Gloria's voice, clipped, irritated. "I don't know why you blocked my number, but that's incredibly immature. We need to talk about last night. You completely overreacted, and I think you owe me an apology. Call me back." Dana deleted it. The next voicemail was similar in tone, but longer. Gloria explaining, in excruciating detail, how Dana had embarrassed her, how she'd wasted perfectly good food, how Dana was setting a terrible example for Maya by running away from family. Delete. The third was different, angrier. "You know what? Fine. Don't talk to me. See how far you get without my help. You've always been ungrateful. I don't know why I even try with you." Delete. Dana sat on her couch and stared at her phone. She could keep deleting voicemails. She could keep blocking numbers. But Gloria was nothing if not persistent. Her mind drifted back through the years, trying to pinpoint when things had gotten so bad. Had it always been this way? Dana remembered being a child, trying desperately to please her mother, bringing home straight A's only to be told they should have been A+, winning the spelling bee and hearing, "Well, spelling is easy. Anyone can memorize words." Nothing had ever been enough. And then there was the way Gloria had treated Ryan. From the moment Dana had brought him home, Gloria had found fault. He dressed too casually. His job wasn't prestigious enough. His family was common. When the marriage fell apart, Gloria hadn't offered comfort. She'd offered smug satisfaction, as if she'd predicted it all along. Maybe she had. Maybe Gloria was one of those people who threw so much negativity at the world that eventually something had to stick, something had to go wrong, and then they got to say, "I told you so." Dana's phone rang again. This time it was a number she recognized, her Aunt Patricia, Gloria's younger sister. She considered letting it go to voicemail, but answered instead. "Hi, Aunt Patricia." "Dana, honey." Patricia's voice was warm, concerned. "Your mother called me this morning. She's very upset." Of course she was. "I'm sure she is," Dana said carefully. "She said you walked out of dinner, that you wouldn't let her finish talking. She humiliated Maya." A pause. She said she was trying to help, that she was concerned about Maya's speech, and she told an 8-year-old she sounded off. In front of her, while Maya was trying to tell a story. Dana kept her voice level, but the anger was there, simmering just below the surface. She made my daughter cry and asked me if she was embarrassing. Another pause, longer this time. Oh, Dana. Yeah. Your mother can be thoughtless sometimes. You know how she is. I do know. That's why we're not going back. Don't you think you're being a little harsh? I mean, she's your mother. Family forgives. Dana closed her eyes. Forgiveness isn't the same as continued access. Maya deserves better than someone who makes her feel bad about herself. But Gloria loves her. She's from a different time. She doesn't always know how to express things gently. There it was. The excuse. The justification. The gentle pressure to smooth things over. To be the bigger person. To forgive and forget because family was family and blood was blood. And wasn't that supposed to mean something? I have to go, Dana said. I have work soon. Dana, just think about it. Your mother isn't getting any younger, and you don't want to have regrets. The only thing I'd regret is exposing Maya to more of that. I'm sorry, Aunt Patricia. I know you mean well, but this is my decision. She ended the call before Patricia could respond. Work was a welcome distraction. Dana sat at the front desk of Clearwater Family Medicine, checking in patients, answering phones, processing insurance cards. The routine was soothing, predictable problems with predictable solutions. Mrs. Henderson needed a prescription refill. Mr. Yamamoto had questions about his blood work. A young mother brought in her son with an ear infection and looked exhausted enough that Dana made sure to fast-track them to an exam room. Dr. Patterson, the clinic's owner, stopped by the desk around noon. He was in his 60s, kind-eyed with wire-rimmed glasses and a tendency to tell dad jokes that made everyone groan. How's Maya doing? He asked. Dana had mentioned the speech therapy sessions in passing a few weeks ago. Dr. Patterson had recommended the therapist his own nephew had used. She's good. She's really good, actually. We just hit a family bump. He nodded, understanding without needing details. Family bumps tend to hurt the most. Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, that kid of yours is smart as a whip. I've seen her drawings when you bring her by. Real talent there. Something in Dana's chest loosened slightly. Thanks, Dr. Patterson. Anytime, kiddo. The afternoon passed quietly. Dana ate lunch at her desk, a peanut butter sandwich and an apple, and sorted through patient files. Her phone stayed mercifully silent. At 3:00, she left to pick up Maya from school. Other parents were already gathering on the sidewalk, chatting about soccer practice and upcoming school fundraisers. Dana stood slightly apart, as she usually did, watching for Maya's face in the crowd of children pouring out the front doors. When Maya appeared, she was holding a large piece of construction paper. Her painting, the bird. Mommy, look. Dana knelt down as Maya ran over the painting held high. It was beautiful, abstract, and bright, with bold strokes of blue and yellow and a hint of red for the beak. Maya had signed her name in the corner in careful, crooked letters. This is amazing, baby. I love it. Really. Really. We're putting this on the fridge the second we get home. Maya beamed. They walked home together, Maya chattering about her day, gym class, lunch, a boy named Devin who could burp the alphabet. Normal, happy 8-year-old things. But when they turned onto their street, Dana saw it. The white sedan parked in front of their apartment building. Her stomach dropped. She'd recognize that car anywhere. The small dent on the rear bumper from when Gloria had backed into a mailbox 3 years ago. The license plate frame from the dealership where she'd bought it. Gloria was here. Maya, Dana said quietly, go wait by the door for a second, okay? But just for a second. I need to talk to someone. Maya's face fell slightly, but she obeyed, walking ahead to their building's entrance. Dana approached the car. Through the windshield, she could see her mother sitting in the driver's seat, staring straight ahead. Gloria had seen them. She had to have, but she didn't get out. Dana tapped on the window. Gloria startled slightly, then rolled it down halfway. Her face was set in that expression Dana knew well, injured pride masking as righteous indignation. "You blocked my number," Gloria said. "Yes. That's childish. You came to my home without being invited. That's worse." Gloria's jaw tightened. "You wouldn't answer my calls. What was I supposed to do? Leave me alone. I'm your mother. That doesn't mean you get access to me. Or to Maya." Dana glanced back at her daughter, who was watching from the building entrance with worried eyes. "You need to leave. We need to talk about this. You can't just shut me out." "Actually, I can. And I am." Dana kept her voice low, controlled, but every word was steel. "You humiliated my child. In your home, at your table. You made her feel like something was wrong with her. That's not forgivable. I was trying to help." "No, you weren't. You were being cruel because that's what you do. You find the thing that hurts most and you press on it." Gloria's eyes widened. "That's not. How many times did you tell me I was too fat after Maya was born? That I'd never keep a man if I didn't lose the weight? I was concerned about your health. You called my daughter broken when Ryan left. I didn't mean." "Yes, you did." Dana leaned closer to the window. "You meant every word. And I spent 32 years making excuses for you, telling myself you were just blunt or honest or from a different generation. But you're not. You're just mean." Gloria's face went red. "How dare you speak to me? Leave. Now. If you come back, I'll call the police." "You wouldn't." Dana pulled out her phone. "Try me." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Gloria's expression cycled through shock, anger, disbelief. Dana had never stood up to her like this, never pushed back so completely. Finally, Gloria started the engine. "You're going to regret this," she said, her voice shaking. "When you need me, when things fall apart, and they will fall apart, don't come crying to me." "I won't." Gloria rolled up the window and pulled away from the curb. Dana watched the white sedan disappear around the corner, her heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. When she turned around, Maya was still by the door, clutching her bird painting. "Was that Grandma?" "Yeah, baby. But she's gone now." "Is she mad at us?" Dana walked over and took Maya's hand. "She's mad at me. But that's okay. Sometimes people get mad when you protect yourself." They went inside, up the stairs to their second-floor apartment. Dana hung Maya's painting on the fridge with magnets, right in the center where it would be the first thing they saw every morning. That night, after Maya was asleep, Dana sat at her laptop and Googled how to deal with a toxic parent. The search results were overwhelming. Thousands of articles, forums, support groups. She wasn't alone in this. That realization brought both comfort and sadness. She read about gray rock technique, about setting boundaries, about the difference between healthy family dynamics and emotional manipulation. She read personal stories from people who'd cut off parents, siblings, entire family trees. One article talked about the guilt that came with estrangement, how society pressured people to forgive family no matter what, how hard it was to explain to others why you'd chosen distance over reconciliation. Dana thought about Patricia's phone call, about the inevitable calls that would come from other relatives, all suggesting she was overreacting, being too sensitive, holding a grudge. But every time doubt crept in, she remembered Maya's face at that dinner table, the way her daughter had shrunk in on herself, the question that had broken Dana's heart, "Am I embarrassing?" No amount of guilt was worth subjecting Maya to that. The calls came from other relatives over the next few weeks, just as Dana had predicted. Her cousin, Jennifer, called, suggesting a family counseling session. Maybe if everyone could just sit down and talk. Dana declined. Uncle Robert called, gruff and uncomfortable, clearly put up to it by someone else. "Your mom's having a tough time. Maybe you could check on her." Dana didn't. Even her father called, though her parents had been divorced for 15 years. "Your mother's worried about you," he said, which was rich coming from the man who'd left Gloria precisely because of the same behavior Dana was now escaping. "Then she should have thought about that before she hurt Maya," Dana said and ended the call. Some relatives fell silent after that. Others persisted, sending texts that Dana left on read. The pattern became clear. They didn't actually care about what had happened. They just wanted everything to go back to normal, wanted the boat to stop rocking, wanted peace even if that peace came at Dana and Maya's expense. Dana started to understand why so many people stayed in toxic family situations. The pressure was immense. Every message, every call, I'm sure she didn't mean it, felt like a weight pressing down, suggesting she was wrong, that she was being cruel, that she was the problem. But she also noticed something else. The people applying the pressure were the ones who'd never stood up to Gloria themselves. They'd learned to manage her, to appease her, to walk on eggshells. And now Dana was disrupting that entire system by refusing to play along. One evening, about 6 weeks after the dinner, Dana was folding laundry when she found herself thinking about patterns again. Not just Gloria's patterns, but her own. How many times had she apologized for things that weren't her fault? How many times had she downplayed her own feelings to keep the peace? How many versions of herself had she edited, shrunk, modified to fit what others expected? Maya came into the living room, book in hand. "Mommy, will you read with me?" Dana set down the laundry. "Of course, baby." They curled up on the couch together, Maya tucked under Dana's arm. The book was about a brave mouse who went on adventures. Maya sounded out the words carefully, occasionally asking Dana for help with the bigger ones. When they finished the chapter, Maya looked up at her. "Mommy, am I brave?" "The bravest person I know." "Braver than the mouse?" "Way braver." "You know why?" Maya shook her head. "Because being brave isn't about fighting dragons or going on quests. It's about being yourself even when someone tells you you shouldn't be." Dana tucked a strand of hair behind Maya's ear. "And you do that every single day." Maya smiled and snuggled closer. "I think you're brave, too." Dana's eyes stung. "Yeah. You protected me. From Grandma." Kids understood more than people gave them credit for. Maya knew what had happened at that dinner, even if she didn't have all the words for it yet. She knew her grandmother had been cruel, and she knew her mother had chosen her. That was the legacy Dana wanted to leave, not perfect attendance at family functions or a spotless relationship with relatives who didn't deserve it. She wanted to leave Maya with the knowledge that she was loved completely, protected fiercely, valued exactly as she was. Everything else was just noise. Months passed. Summer faded into fall. Maya started 3rd grade. Her speech continued to improve, though she'd always have a careful rhythm to her words. Her teacher was patient, kind, and mentioned in parent-teacher conferences that Maya was developing into a natural leader among her peers. "She helps the other kids," the teacher said, "especially the quieter ones. She has this way of making them feel heard." Dana's chest swelled with pride. Maya was developing empathy, compassion, strength, all the things Gloria had tried to shame out of her. Gloria continued to leave voicemails on different numbers, though they became less frequent. Dana didn't listen to them anymore. She'd set her phone to filter unknown numbers directly to voicemail, and she deleted them unheard. She also started noticing something interesting through the family grapevine. Gloria's life was getting smaller. According to Aunt Patricia, who still called occasionally despite Dana's lack of interest in reconciling, Gloria had missed several doctor's appointments because she couldn't figure out the new online scheduling system. Dana had always managed those appointments for her. Gloria had gotten into an argument with her neighbor about a property line, and now they weren't speaking. Dana had been the one who smoothed over those kinds of disputes. Even Gloria's book club had apparently disbanded after a particularly tense meeting where she'd criticized everyone's reading choices to the point that several members quit. Dana didn't gloat. She didn't feel vindicated or satisfied. She just felt nothing. Or maybe not nothing, maybe peace. Maybe clarity. Gloria had spent years relying on Dana to clean up her messes, to apologize on her behalf, to maintain relationships that Gloria herself was destroying. Without that buffer, the natural consequences of Gloria's behavior were finally catching up to her. One Saturday afternoon in October, Dana and Maya were at the park. The leaves were changing colors, brilliant reds and oranges against the blue sky. Maya was on the swings, pumping her legs, going higher and higher. Dana's phone rang. The neighbor from Gloria Street, an older woman named Mrs. Fitzgerald, who'd lived there for 40 years. "Hello." "Dana, dear. I'm calling about your mother." Dana's stomach tightened. "What happened?" "She fell. In her kitchen. She's okay, nothing broken, but she was shaken up. I called an ambulance just to be safe, and they checked her out. She's at home now, but I thought you should know." Dana watched Maya on the swings, her daughter's hair flying behind her, her face bright with joy. "Thank you for letting me know, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Will you come check on her?" "No." A pause. "I see. I appreciate you calling. Really. But I can't help her. Even after a fall. She has other family, and my first priority is my daughter." Mrs. Fitzgerald sighed. "I understand, dear. For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. I've known Gloria a long time. She can be difficult." After the call ended, Dana sat on the park bench for a long time, watching Maya play. Other mothers were scattered around the playground, chatting, watching their own children. Normal Saturday afternoon things. She thought about the fall, about Gloria alone in her house, maybe scared, maybe hurt. And she waited for the guilt to hit, for the voice in her head that said she should go, should help, should be a good daughter. But it didn't come. What came instead was a memory of Maya's tear-stained face in the car, asking if she could talk normal. That memory was stronger than any obligation to a woman who'd spent Dana's entire life making her feel insufficient. Dana pulled out her phone and texted Mrs. Fitzgerald. "If you're worried about her, you might call her sister Patricia, but I won't be coming." Then she put her phone away and walked over to the swings. "Push me, Mommy." Dana pushed, and Maya flew higher, laughing free. A year after the dinner that changed everything, Dana and Maya moved to a different apartment, still in Clearwater, but on the other side of town. It was closer to Maya's school, with 2 bedrooms instead of 1, and a small balcony where Dana could sit in the mornings with her coffee. The move felt like shedding skin. New space, new routines, new possibilities. Maya's room was painted a soft lavender, and they'd put up shelves for her growing collection of books and art supplies. The bird painting still hung in the kitchen, faded slightly from sun and time, but still vibrant in its way. Dana's job at the clinic had led to a small promotion. Not much, but enough to make the new rent manageable. Dr. Patterson had taken her aside one day and said, "You're good with people. Ever think about going back to school for nursing?" She'd thought about it, started researching programs. It felt good to think about a future that was hers, shaped by her choices, unencumbered by the weight of her mother's expectations. One evening in November, Dana was making dinner when Maya came into the kitchen, homework in hand. "Mommy, we're supposed to draw our family tree. For school." Dana's hand paused over the cutting board. "Okay. Do I put Grandma on it?" It was a fair question. Technically, biologically, Gloria was family. But Dana had learned that family was more than blood, more than biology. "That's up to you, sweet pea. Who do you want on your family tree?" Maya thought about it, her face serious. "You." "Me." "Dr. Patterson, he's nice. And Mrs. Chin, from next door. She gives me cookies." Dana smiled. "That sounds like a perfect family tree. And Miss Roberts, my teacher." "Good choice." Maya nodded, satisfied, and went back to the living room to work on her homework. Dana returned to chopping vegetables for stir-fry, her mind drifting. She hadn't heard from Gloria in months. The phone calls had stopped. The texts had stopped. Whether Gloria had given up or simply found someone else to berate, Dana didn't know. Didn't particularly care. Sometimes she wondered if she should feel worse about it, about cutting off her mother, about the finality of it all. Society's script said she should be racked with guilt, should be questioning her decision, should be open to reconciliation if Gloria would just apologize. But Gloria would never apologize. Dana understood that now. To apologize would require Gloria to acknowledge she'd been wrong, and Gloria's entire identity was built on the foundation of always being right, always knowing better, always having the moral high ground. The doorbell rang. Maya jumped up. "I'll get it." "Check the peephole first." Dana heard Maya's footsteps, then the sound of the door opening, and Mrs. Chen's warm voice. "Hello, little one. I made too many dumplings. Would you and your mother like some?" This was family, this neighbor who barely spoke English, but who'd welcomed them with a plate of food the day they moved in. Dr. Patterson, who'd given Dana a chance when she'd been a single mother with limited job experience. Miss Roberts, who saw Maya's potential and nurtured it instead of criticizing her differences. Family wasn't the people who shared your DNA. Family was the people who showed up, who cared, who made you feel safe. Dana had built a family, and it was enough. December came with the first real snow. Dana had the day off and decided to take Maya to the library downtown. They walked through the quiet streets, Maya catching snowflakes on her tongue, both of them bundled in winter coats and scarves. The library was warm and smelled like old books and coffee from the small cafe in the corner. Maya immediately darted toward the children's section, and Dana followed at a more leisurely pace, running her fingers along the spines of books as she went. She was browsing the fiction section when she heard a familiar voice. "Dana." She turned. It took her a moment to place the face. Brenda Hutchins, a woman she'd gone to high school with. They'd been friendly, but not close friends. "Brenda, hi." "Oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you?" They made small talk, jobs, kids, the weather. Brenda had 2 boys, worked at the bank, was recently divorced. Normal catch-up conversation. Then Brenda lowered her voice slightly. "I heard. I ran into your mom a few months ago at the grocery store. She mentioned you two weren't speaking." There it was, the gossip that had undoubtedly made its way through Gloria's social circles. "That's right," Dana said simply. Brenda looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry. That must be hard." "It's actually been pretty peaceful." Brenda blinked, clearly not expecting that answer. "Oh, well, I'm sure you'll work it out eventually. Family usually does." "Maybe, or maybe not. Either way is okay." Brenda nodded slowly, still uncomfortable. They chatted for a few more minutes about nothing important, then parted ways. Dana returned to browsing books, unbothered by the encounter. She'd noticed this pattern over the past year. People's discomfort with her choice to cut off Gloria was more about them than about her. They needed to believe families always reconciled, that forgiveness was mandatory, that blood ties were unbreakable. Because if Dana could walk away from her mother and be fine, better than fine actually, then that meant they could make different choices too. And that was scary. Maya appeared at her elbow, arms full of books. "I found 7. Is that too many?" "Let's narrow it down to 4, okay? We can always come back next week." They settled on the floor of the children's section, Maya carefully considering each book, weighing which ones she wanted most. A few other parents were scattered around with their kids. Dana caught one mother's eye, and they exchanged that universal parent smile, the kids, right? Smile that required no words. This was her life now. Simple moments, small joys, peace. No more walking on eggshells. No more bracing for criticism. No more trying to shrink Maya's personality to fit Gloria's narrow definition of acceptable. Just living. Christmas came and went quietly. Dana and Maya decorated a small tree with mismatched ornaments. They baked cookies, some successful, many not, and watched holiday movies in their pajamas. On Christmas morning, Maya opened presents while drinking hot chocolate, her face glowing with simple, uncomplicated joy. Dana's phone rang once, an unknown number on Christmas Eve. She let it go to voicemail. Later, after Maya was asleep, she listened to it. Gloria's voice slurred slightly. She'd been drinking. It's Christmas, and you can't even call your mother. I gave you everything. Everything. This is how you repay me? By taking my granddaughter away. You're cruel, Dana. You've always been cruel, just like your father. Selfish and cold, and you're going to die alone. You know that? Both of you. No one will want. Dana deleted it before it finished. She made herself another cup of tea and sat by the Christmas tree, lights twinkling in the dark apartment. Maya's latest painting was taped to the wall, a winter scene with snowmen and a bright yellow sun. Cruel, selfish, cold. The words that were meant to hurt just bounced off now. Dana had learned something important this year. You couldn't be hurt by people whose opinions you didn't value. And she didn't value Gloria's opinion anymore. Not about her parenting, not about her choices, not about anything. The woman on that voicemail was a stranger. Someone who shared Dana's genetics, but nothing else that mattered. Dana finished her tea and went to bed, slept soundly, woke up Christmas morning to Maya bouncing on her bed, excited about presents and breakfast and the snow that had fallen overnight. This was what mattered. This right here. In January, Aunt Patricia called one last time. Your mother's not doing well, she said without preamble. Dana waited. She's isolated herself. Barely leaves the house. I think she's depressed. I'm sorry to hear that, Dana said and meant it. She didn't wish suffering on anyone, even Gloria. Will you at least consider reaching out? Just a card? Something to let her know you haven't completely forgotten her. Patricia. Dana kept her voice gentle but firm. I know you mean well. I know you love your sister. But what Gloria did to Maya, what she's done to me my entire life, that's not something I can overlook. Not for a card, not for anything. She's alone, Dana. That's a consequence of her own behavior. I didn't isolate her. Her actions did. Patricia was quiet for a long moment. You've gotten hard. No, I've gotten healthy. There's a difference. After the call ended, Dana thought about that word, hard. It was interesting how people labeled boundary setting as hardness, as if protecting yourself and your child made you cold. But Dana didn't feel cold. She felt clear, focused, free. Maya came home from school that day with a valentine she'd made, construction paper covered in glitter and stickers, with I love you, Mommy, written in purple crayon. Dana hung it on the fridge, next to the bird painting. This was her family, small but mighty, imperfect but safe, and that was more than enough. By the time spring arrived, Dana had nearly forgotten to think about Gloria at all. Not in a deliberate, I'm not thinking about her way, but in a genuine, my life has moved on way. She'd started taking an evening class at the community college, Introduction to Nursing. It was hard, juggling work and Maya and homework, but it felt good to be working toward something. Maya had finished speech therapy. She'd probably always have a slower, more careful way of speaking, but her confidence had grown tremendously. She'd even joined the school art club. One Saturday in April, they went to the farmers' market downtown. The sun was warm, the first real warmth after a long winter. Vendors sold fresh vegetables and homemade bread and handcrafted jewelry. A band played on the corner. Kids ran between the stalls laughing. Maya tugged on Dana's hand. Can we get strawberries? Absolutely. They wandered through the market, sampling cheeses and buying fresh flowers for their apartment. Dana ran into a co-worker from the clinic, chatted about a new patient protocol, made plans to have coffee sometime. This was her life. Normal, boring, wonderful life. As they walked home, strawberries swinging in a bag between them, Maya said, Mommy, I'm happy. Such a simple statement, but it hit Dana square in the chest. Yeah, baby, Yeah, I like our life. Me too, sweet pea. Me too. That night, after Maya was asleep, Dana stood in the kitchen looking at the bird painting on the fridge. It had been there for over a year now, slightly faded, one corner curling up a bit. She thought about that dinner, about Gloria's face when she'd said those cruel words, about the choice Dana had made to walk out that door. It had been the right choice. She knew that with every fiber of her being. Some people believed in second chances, in forgiveness, in family above all else. And maybe that worked for them. Maybe their families deserved that grace. But Gloria had had hundreds of chances. Thousands. Every day of Dana's childhood had been a chance to be kinder, gentler, more loving. Every visit in Dana's adulthood had been a chance to change, to grow, to be better. Gloria had chosen cruelty every time. And Dana had chosen Maya. A year and a half after the dinner, Gloria died. Heart attack. Quick, according to Patricia, who called to let Dana know. Dana sat on her couch, phone in hand, and felt nothing. Not relief, not grief, just a sort of quiet acknowledgement that a chapter had closed. The funeral is on Thursday, Patricia said. Will you come? I don't think so. Dana. She was unkind to me my entire life. She tried to be unkind to my daughter. I mourn the mother I wished I'd had a long time ago. I don't have anything left to mourn now. Patricia made a small sound, maybe a sigh, maybe a sob. Okay. I'm sorry for your loss, Dana said, and she meant it. Patricia had loved her sister, probably made excuses for her too, but that love had been real even if Gloria hadn't deserved it. After the call, Dana sat for a while in the quiet apartment. Maya was at school. The sun was streaming through the window. Everything was ordinary, normal, unchanged. Gloria was gone, and Dana's life would continue exactly as it had been. That felt like the most fitting ending possible. Not drama or reconciliation or deathbed forgiveness. Just nothing. Just a woman who'd been cruel and a daughter who'd chosen to protect herself and her child. Some stories didn't have redemption arcs. Some people didn't change. And that was okay. Dana had learned to live with that, to find peace in it. She thought about calling in sick to work, maybe picking Maya up early from school, having a mother-daughter afternoon. But that felt like making Gloria's death mean something it didn't. Instead, Dana got ready for work, went through her normal routine, checked in patients, answered phones, filed paperwork. At lunch, she texted Dr. Patterson, "My mother passed away. I'm fine. Just wanted you to know." He responded immediately, "I'm here if you need anything." "Thank you. I really am okay." And she was. That evening, she picked Maya up from school as usual. They stopped for ice cream, chocolate chip for Maya, vanilla for Dana. They sat at a small table by the window watching people walk by. "Mommy, you seem quiet." Dana smiled. "Just thinking." "About what?" "About how lucky I am to have you." Maya grinned, ice cream on her upper lip. "I'm lucky too." They finished their ice cream and walked home, the spring air gentle around them. In their apartment, Maya did her homework while Dana made dinner. They ate together, talking about Maya's day, her friends, a science project she was excited about. Normal. Perfect. Right. Later, after Maya was in bed, Dana stood on their small balcony and looked out at the quiet street below. Lights glowed in windows. A cat prowled through a garden. Somewhere a dog barked. Gloria was gone, but Dana's world hadn't shifted, hadn't changed, because Gloria had stopped being part of her world long before this. The real ending had happened at that dinner table 18 months ago. Everything after had just been the slow process of accepting it, of learning to live in the space Gloria had left behind. And that space, Dana had learned, was actually quite beautiful, peaceful, free. She thought about Maya's question from the school project last year, who to put on the family tree. Maya had chosen people who were kind, who were present, who made her feel valued. That was the legacy Dana was leaving. Not a family bound by blood and obligation, but a family built on choice and love and safety. Gloria had eaten alone in her final years. That wasn't Dana's fault or her responsibility. It was simply the natural consequence of a lifetime of pushing people away. Some doors, Dana had learned, closed quietly. They didn't slam. They didn't make dramatic sounds. They just stopped opening. And on the other side of those closed doors, life went on. Sometimes better, often happier, always more peaceful. Dana had closed the door on her mother a year and a half ago. And now, with Gloria's death, that door had locked permanently. It didn't hurt. It didn't heal anything that hadn't already healed. It just was. And that, Dana thought as she went back inside to her warm apartment, to her sleeping daughter, to her quiet life, that was karma enough. 2 months after Gloria's death, a letter arrived. It was from Gloria's estate attorney, a formal, impersonal notification that Gloria's was being executed and that Dana, as the sole heir, was entitled to the house and whatever assets remained. Dana stared at the letter for a long time. She didn't want the house, didn't want anything from it. The thought of walking through those rooms, seeing Gloria's furniture and photos and carefully arranged life, made her feel tired. She called the attorney. "I'd like to sign over everything to Gloria's sister, Patricia. Is that possible?" "You're entitled to." "I don't want it. Any of it. Can I legally transfer it?" "Yes, but—" "Then please draw up whatever paperwork is necessary." Patricia called a week later, crying. "Dana, you didn't have to do this. I didn't want it. Still, it's generous. More generous than Gloria ever was to you." Dana didn't have a response to that. It was true. Patricia cleared her throat. "I found some things. In the house. Photos of you as a child. Some of Maya. Would you want them?" "You can send the ones of Maya. Keep the rest." The photos arrived 2 weeks later in a padded envelope. Dana opened it carefully, Maya watching with curious eyes. There were maybe 20 photos. Maya as a baby, Maya on her first birthday, Maya at age 5 in a Halloween costume Dana had made. All the photos were from before Maya's speech delay diagnosis, Dana realized. After that, Gloria had stopped asking for pictures. "Is that me?" Maya asked, pointing to a photo of herself as a toddler, covered in birthday cake. "That's you, baby." "I was messy." Dana laughed. "The messiest." They put the photos in a box in Maya's room. Dana didn't frame them, didn't display them prominently. They were just there, a record of a relationship that had never really existed, kept for Maya's sake if she ever wanted to look at them. The past was the past, and Dana had made her peace with it. Summer arrived. Dana finished her first semester of nursing classes with solid grades. Maya completed 3rd grade and was already excited about 4th. They spent weekends at the lake, Maya learning to swim, Dana reading paperback novels on a towel in the sand. One evening they were making dinner together, Maya carefully stirring sauce while Dana cut vegetables, when Maya said, "Molly's grandma came to school today for Grandparents' Day." Dana's knife paused. "Did she?" "She read us a story about a bear." Maya was quiet for a moment, concentrating on her stirring. "I didn't have a grandma to bring." There it was. The moment Dana had known would come eventually. Maya noticing what she didn't have what other kids had. Dana set down the knife and knelt beside her daughter. "Does that make you sad?" Maya thought about it, her face serious. "A little, but also not really." She looked at Dana. "Molly's grandma was nice, but I have you, and that's better." Something in Dana's chest cracked open, not in a painful way, in a releasing way, like a door opening to let in light. "You know what, baby? You're absolutely right. Sometimes the family we have is better than the family we wish we had." Maya nodded and returned to her stirring. "Can we have garlic bread?" "We can definitely have garlic bread." They finished making dinner, the moment passing as easily as it had come. But Dana felt it settling into her bones, the confirmation that she'd made the right choice. Maya wasn't damaged by Gloria's absence. If anything, she was protected by it. Years passed. Maya grew. She entered middle school, then high school. She joined the drama club, discovered a talent for stage design, started talking about colleges. Dana finished her nursing program, got certified, took a job at a larger hospital in a neighboring town. The pay was better. The work was harder, but more fulfilling. They moved again, this time to a small house with a yard. Maya got a dog, a scruffy terrier mix from the shelter they named Rocket. Dana dated occasionally, but nothing serious. She was content with her life as it was. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes Dana thought about Gloria. Usually it was triggered by something random, a smell that reminded her of Gloria's perfume, a phrase someone used that Gloria used to say, a car that looked like the white sedan. But the thoughts weren't painful. They were just there. Neutral observations. Oh, my mother used to do that, in the same way you might think, oh, I used to own a shirt that color. The past was truly past. One evening when Maya was 17, almost ready to graduate high school, they were sitting on the back porch watching Rocket chase squirrels in the yard. Mom, Maya said. She'd stopped calling Dana Mommy around age 12. Can I ask you something? Always. Do you ever regret cutting off your mom? Grandma. Dana looked at her daughter, this almost adult who'd grown into someone confident and kind and beautifully herself despite, or maybe because of everything. No, Dana said honestly. Never. Not even when she died. Not even then. Maya nodded slowly. I've been thinking about that dinner. I don't remember all of it, but I remember how you stood up for me. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I know. Maya smiled. That's why. I wanted to say thank you for choosing me. Dana reached over and took her daughter's hand. You made it easy, baby. You've always made it easy. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the sun set, the dog finally giving up on the squirrels and flopping down in the grass. This was the happy ending. Not reconciliation with Gloria, not forgiveness or healing or coming to terms with the past. Just this, a mother and daughter who'd chosen each other, who'd built a life free from toxicity and cruelty, who'd learned that family wasn't obligation, it was love. And sometimes love meant knowing when to walk away. Sometimes love meant closing doors that should never have been opened in the first place. Sometimes love meant protecting what mattered most, even when the world said you should do otherwise. Dana had learned those lessons the hard way, but she'd learned them, and she'd taught them to Maya, not through lectures or rules, but through example, through action, through the simple, quiet choice to say enough and mean it. Gloria had died alone, and that was sad, but it wasn't Dana's tragedy to carry. She'd set that burden down years ago, and in its place, she'd picked up something better, freedom. The freedom to build a life on her own terms. The freedom to define family by love instead of blood. The freedom to be happy. As the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Rocket trotted up the porch steps and rested his head on Dana's knee. Maya leaned against her shoulder. The night air was cool, but comfortable. This was enough. This was everything. Some doors closed quietly. They didn't need to slam to be final. They just stopped opening. And on the other side of those closed doors, life continued, better, healthier, fuller. That was karma, not revenge, not suffering, not dramatic justice. Just the simple, quiet consequence of treating people poorly. You ended up alone. And the equally simple, quiet reward of choosing kindness and boundaries. You ended up surrounded by love. Dana had made her choice years ago at a dinner table when her mother had hurt her child. She'd walked out that door and never looked back. And every day since, she'd been glad she did. That gladness, that peace, that freedom, that was the real ending. Everything else was just details.